All right. Good morning. Check, check, check. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another live session. It's another beautiful day, and here we are once again, looking forward to having a great time in the market. So, there's a couple of stocks that I'm watching out here, including CGEN, INBS, PBLA, and lastly, OSA. Right. 4 stocks. They're not looking too bad. Add them to the alert section here as well as on YouTube. Big Steve and Dash, how are you guys doing today, man? I hope you guys are feeling good. Hope you guys are ready to rock and roll. So, yeah, as mentioned, there's a couple of stocks here. I'm going to start off with CGEN. CGEN. So this one has over 24 million shares of volume and it's up 180%. So that's pretty crazy. And we pushed up to 249. Low of the consolidation and pullback has been 181. VWAP is at 93. Looking at the daily chart, we are well above the 200 EMA here, Thinkorswim, and doesn't seem like we have major resistance. Double check here on E-Trade. Yeah, it doesn't seem like we have major resistance. But, going back to July 22nd, we had a bit of a double top at 214. But, in pre-market, we did push through that level fairly, easily, I'd say. It doesn't seem like we had a ton of resistance there. A small double top and then, okay, maybe it's something that's worth keeping an eye on. Small double top and then it pulled back. But, again, 250. Definitely is a bit of a level. I'll put it on here just in case. And we're also, in terms of like where we are now, we're kind of around this area. So it'll be interesting to see if it gets back to that level. If it does, over time, can we see 250 and then $3, maybe 350? So CGEN not looking too bad. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my screen recording. And there we go. Looks good. Guys, today I have on a white t-shirt. I don't usually wear white, but looks pretty good. Looks great. So KT, what's up? How you doing? Coming down to the next stock. MA, do I have this dual screen? MA, hit the scans. I wonder if it's looking decent. Take a quick look here, and then I'll move on to the other one. Okay, the volume not quite there as yet. So yeah, moving on to PBLA. This is one we traded yesterday, so not a ton of analysis needed, but key levels to keep an eye out for. Yesterday's high, we had 164. In the event that the stock sells off, this is usually an area I'd watch. Sometimes there can be bounce opportunities at those levels. Let's see. The 200 EMA is at 401 on the daily chart. 401. And let's see. I have a trend line here at 180. I'll double check what that was. What was 180? I can't remember, and I also don't see anything here. So it might have been an intraday level or something. Maybe even an accident. That does happen from time to time. But roomed 360 on the daily chart going back to July 19th. We had 45 million shares of volume that day. High of 307, low of 215. So even 215, I'd be interested to see how it does once it gets up there. If we can get a smooth break over 2 and push past that level eventually, then I think maybe room up to 3 for PBLA. Today's high point is at 195. So we'll see how it does. It doesn't look bad, and yesterday it gave a decent opportunity, right? Up 80%, 20 million shares of volume. INBS is the last stock because I usually only watch 3. OSA is also, maybe something that can move, but INBS, this one, let's get the INBS. Yeah, 44% and 14 million shares of volume. We've traded this one before a few times. So we've pushed up around 8 a.m. We pulled back, a nice move up. That was around 50 cents or so, and now we've pulled back to 41, and we've had lows here at 39. So I'd love to see us hold up this low, and then hey, can we curl back up, right? That red to green that we love to see. Can we curl back up? VWAP is at 44, and then again 50 could be a decent target. So there's about a 10-cent range there for now, and maybe we can see, here's a 2-minute warning, maybe we can see some other levels as well. So we'll see how this one does. That's INBS. If we can get to 50 and then 60, I think that'll be pretty good. 78 could be a target if it happens to be exceptionally strong. Let's move this up here, 78. So we'll see how this one does. That's INBS. Can we get over 53? If we do, can we get up there to 60, 65? And then 78 can be a decent target, which was a high point of November 9th. So coming into the open, I'll be watching CGEN. I'll start off with small size. And if we can see an aggressive move again, because we've been seeing that, I'll be ready to go. So ladies and gentlemen, remember that day trading, of course, is risky. Remember that a lot of people are having a hard time. So if you're new to the markets, it's best to start off slow. Utilize the simulators, utilize a small amount of cash, ensure that your learning curve, you're not bleeding out a ton of money. All right, take it easy, gain the necessary experience and skills, and then when you become consistent, that's the time to increase risk. Starting off with a huge risk first doesn't make any sense. Take it slow, and that's the way to go. Lastly, remember the live streams and recaps are not an invitation to copy trade. So again, take it easy. Understand that this day trading thing takes time. All right, months, more commonly years. Lastly, remember I do not invest for my subscribers. All right, so be careful. There are some fake accounts out there. I will never message you first, and I will never ask for personal information. So CGEN, we got 210, 213. The halt is at 20. It might get halted up. Maybe not. Okay, maybe not. $14 for the highs. We might be able to see the halt. It's at 24. I want to be in if it's going to get halted. But it seems like it's struggling here. So I'm going to ease off. If I see 20, maybe I try again. The halt now 28. Level 2 is moving very strange. So there's a seller at 20, 30,000. Back down a bit. We got a low of 08. I don't think we're going to see that halt. It's maybe a little later, but for now it's definitely having some trouble. halt down is at 98, so the halt levels on this one fairly tight. Interesting, because we broke the seller. We might see a bigger pullback here. Possible. Okay, 28. 30 for the halt up. The range seems somewhat limited with these halt levels being so tight. It's at 32 now. There it is. It seems like it might get locked in. It's locked in, so we'll see a resumption in 5 minutes time. I don't think the price action is all that, but there's opportunity. Hopefully it opens up some more and we can get more room in there. INBS, do not fail me now. Some big bids are coming in this one. So I'm going to watch for 47, 48 here. I'll pull it on screen in a sec. If this dips down, I like it to get back in. I'm going to sell too soon though because we're seeing 46. I had 10,000 size there. Why do I bother with these limit orders? Get a dump there though. Maybe I try again. Surprised it didn't go there. Not bid. There's a bid here, 45, 60,000. I gotta be careful or I'll miss the resumption on the other one. But watching aggressively here, see if we get a new high. Watching for add. If this wants to give a new high. Okay, maybe I added too aggressively. I might miss a resumption. $38.08. Okay, I have time. $38.08 for the resumption. This thing is pulling back again. That was a pretty good bounce. I'm surprised it didn't, give a new high. So, okay, I'll just switch back to I still like this stock. I'll switch back to the other one. CGEN. CGEN. CGEN for resumption. I don't know. I'll keep 2,500 shares and just, if I can get some quick scalps, that'll be good. Can I get green 100, 200 bucks here? I probably should be trading INBS though. The setup there is pretty decent. Hopefully I'm not, well, opportunity cost. You can't really be upset if you miss something. 8 seconds, 8 seconds and counting. Here we go. We're at 32. I'll take the long down here. Why not? Can we get a bounce? Well, we will not. A little disappointing here. We will get the bounce, but it's very delayed. Son of a gun. Usually we'll get a bounce because that has no reason to resume low like that, right? 38 for the halt up. I got chopped out, so I didn't get any trades in there, and a nice loss. Not great.
MDVL, CGEN.
False halt. The halt is now 44. It's way too extended for me here. I'll be waiting either for the halt or some sort of a pullback if we ever get one. I'm along INBS here, watching for the new high of day. I'll add over 45 if we can see volume. The halt level seems pretty wide now on the other stock, right? False breakout again. Okay, CGEN coming back. That was a sweet trade. It might still go, but CGEN, we got 47 for the halt up. We had a low of 30 right there, so it ended up giving some sort of a pullback. Let's see how this does here. High was 45. I don't know, it just seems like it's so high up still. $100K bid, 37. I still think it's up a little high, so okay, perfect. Probably should have held that though. Do not go to the depths. Gonna go to the depths. Jeez Louise. I should not have given that time. Took some extra losses there. Yeah, I don't think this is a great stock. I should be trading this other one. This one has been giving the setups that I know and love. This other one has just been the wild, wild west. It's been the wild, wild west. So I think I'll just focus here because I've been missing the setup trades trying to watch both of them. Trade something a little bit more linear. Disappointing. It couldn't hold 50 and continue, so let's see what it does. BBLA maybe might take over as the stock of the day here.
CGEN.
I ought to hold that trade longer, but I'm thinking it might have trouble here at 50. It's definitely having some trouble. I gotta be careful with this being like a bigger 5-minute pullback. We got about 2 minutes 30 seconds to the new candle. I want to see the 5-minute candle make the new high over time. There's an 80K bid, which is a good sign. And gear up to add back if we get good pullbacks. Bro, is this failing? Jeez. Goodness.
NDVL.
I got a little too into that level too. It shouldn't be pulling back like this. Is a bearish engulfing. Oh, that's disappointing. From a sweet move to the high, we wanted to see it test 53, hold up high 40s, get up there to 55, 60. But bearish engulfing here. I don't know. I think CGEN is just, I don't think it's trading well. We halted up. The range initially was tight. We halted up. We resumed lower. It's a little choppy. Now right here, it seems like I don't know. It's hauled down to 13. It's a strange one. I'm gonna grab my chair early. Guys, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, right? If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, hit that thumbs up. If you're a new viewer, consider subscribing to the channel. We go live every weekday morning around 9:15 a.m. Right now we have over 500 people watching on, but only 86 likes. The viewership to like ratio is absolutely reprehensible. So be sure to hit that thumbs up. We do appreciate it. And of course, shout out to all the Relentless traders tuning in from across the world. PBLA, I still have some faith in this one, and I'm hoping it gets overview off here. CGEN, we held up that double bottom at 11. So VWAP balanced, but the halt level down is at 0.9, so it makes it a very tricky trade to take. Yeah, PBLA can't get over VWAP right now. It seems like it's having a little bit of trouble. I'm essentially flat on the day. We haven't made any progress yet. So the market is saying, hey, relentless, sit tight, don't force anything. In fact, size down, which I'm going to do now, size down, and just, you know, preserve your capital, right, your cash, and also preserve your mental capital, right? And that way you can give yourself a good shot if something else does come that looks good. Let's not get too aggressive and end up with a big red day here. So I'm gonna grab this chair, sit back, relax, and wait.
CGEN, MDVL.
So PBLA, we're over VWAP, CGEN, we're getting the candle to make the new high here, which is good. Maybe I watch PBLA here though. I think this one maybe might have some better price action for me. VWAP is at 69. We had a high right there of about 80. We might see a retest of 80 here. Not looking to be super aggressive, so I'm just, you know, kind of watching.
VYN, MDVL.
I'll keep an eye here, but it definitely come down quite a bit. Yeah, and let's size back down. This is not. I sized back up because I thought it was good, but okay. Oh, okay. Let's give it some time. 72. I was expecting a bounce there. I'm wondering like, whoa, where's the bounce? Because the volume going down was fairly light. Looks like I'm gonna get chopped out, which is fine. So I'll keep waiting here. I expect a retest of 80 over time. Guys, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Nothing like some ice cold water whilst you're trading. This is good. So higher low right there. How can we hold up this area and then make our way back to 80 here? There's a 50,000 share bid, but nothing's happening. I'm gonna take a position here. I didn't really get the fill. If it breaks down the lows, I'll stop out. If we can hold up, I'll hold the trade. But not looking to have a wide stop here. Yeah. Low is at 65. The candle's making a new low. I suspect it might be like a big pullback before it curls up, so I'll wait. I changed my I retested 80 might not happen right away, like I thought. Alright, so that one is also not really that great, and unfortunately I fell victim into increasing my size thinking it was. Sometimes it comes down to if the stock is ready to go and give the move. Sometimes they're not, and we kind of have to wait. So right now we're down 180. We're down a scratch trade. Sizing back down and just waiting. Lots of selling for tax purposes. Well, they have the wash sale rule for that type of stuff. Just in case anybody also tries to buy back. But look at how fast this year came and just, like just like that, the year's done. These last 2 to 3 years, I've been realizing, like you have older people that say life goes by pretty quickly. But it's like I've been seeing it, man. Like, you know, seeing the kids and stuff, like I used to be like that, like a toddler, and coming into being a teenager, and before you know it, it's like you're 30, right? Things going too fast. It never used to feel that way when I was younger. That nowadays it's just flying. HUT, a high float stock here. Not gonna get involved with that one. So I'll just wait. This is what it comes down to, you know. So for anybody who's a newer trader watching on right now, this is a good time for us to, if we're not seeing, because some people trade a little differently, but if you're not seeing the stocks that you like, the patterns, the setup that you like, that can give you a good, you know, reward, right? Risk is limited. Right now, we just have to wait. Something will come, if not now, a little later. So we just have to be patient. Some people, though, depending on their trade style, today could be a great day, right? It's just a subtle shift, and it makes a huge difference for people and what they're looking for. Also, just a quick reminder for anybody who's trading today who might be a little bit more on the frustrated side of things. You know, just remember to keep cool. You are in control, right? You are in control of your emotions. And remember, the cool, calm, collected trader, the one who can think ahead and make decisions and manage risk, is the trader who will prevail. And that definitely is you. So
MDVL.
tighten up, right? Just in case anybody needs to hear that. I'm out of water. I had to go to one of those big Costco stores today. 10 cases. Gotta get like 10 cases of water. Yeah, last night I was gonna go, but by the time I was done with the gym, it's already too late. I've never had the luxury of using monitors to watch other stocks. Well, I didn't have the luxury when I was starting out either, right? It took me years before I was able to buy another monitor. In fact, I had one of my grandmother's friends had a monitor that she was throwing out, and I somehow heard about it. And I used the train to go pick it up. You know, we have to, you know, we're all starting from somewhere. We just have to, you know, make it happen. Regardless of if it's one monitor, we have to make it happen. And then the goal is over time we can improve, grow in our personal lives, in our trading lives, and eventually, you know, if we can start to see some more income, we can improve our operations, right? Our setups, get better equipment. PBLA, a bit of a pullback there. CGEN still consolidating around 211, 215. Yeah, we don't drink the pipe water because they're putting lead in it. You buy the bottled water, plastic is leaking into it. At this rate, we don't stand a chance. To the depths. To the depths we go. C4. C4. Hold up. The daily chart isn't really great. It's moved up a little bit. Yeah, I don't doubt that the plastic leaks into the water. There's a lot of there's a lot of things, man. There's a ton of stuff that's just there, you know. Some things you got to put certain things in place to try and avoid and increase the health, just to like on a general level. Rob, is it snowing where you are? So CCC is moving up a bit. Okay, maybe that wasn't so much of a great trade. Loss of 3 cents. I gotta size down even more, I think, because CGEN, big candlestick here, low of six, low of 3, right? 203. Coming into those lows once again. But for the like the water system, a lot of the times like the pipes, over time the pipes they start to go. On my other screen, I'm watching at 1 minute charts only. Usually the main stock I'll have here, and then there'll be a 5 minute and a 1 minute. I have a 3 minute on the left hand side as well. But I don't utilize the 3 minute nearly as much as the 1 or 5. Other than that, I'm watching at level 2 and time and sales. The thing is with the chart is that, you know, I don't really need to look at the chart as much. Maybe I'll glance just to see the history of the candlesticks and the type of candlestick that we're seeing now and have a good picture of what's happening. And then I go back on the more micro side to the level 2 and time and sales just to see the price action. I don't usually go more than a few minutes without looking at the 1 minute chart. But a lot of times I don't really need to, because from the level 2, I can know where we are, right? Whether we've moved up or down. If I want to get like a good read on the exact candlestick, then I can check, you know, which only takes like half a second. And I look back. When I was buying the dip on that cheaper stock, it's where I kind of had one of those moments where I felt maybe I'm looking at the level 2 a little too much, because I had to zoom out for a second. Like, wait, are we failing here? Is the pullback not going to hold? You look at the chart, you start to see the topping wick more clearly, and that red is just, you know, full body. OSA is the fourth stock. I didn't. Yeah, good call. Good call. Good call. I had this on the watch list, but forgot about it. Didn't rotate. So the pullback there looks pretty good. Now will the 1 minute candle make a new high? I'm gonna cut that too soon. I don't know why I thought it was going down instead. And that's a pretty poor sell. Wow, impressive. Most impressive. Might have been a little early. What's it gonna do here? Still red. Red is sprinting. Red, red, red. There's all three. I think the pullback should hold up here because of how bullish it was looking. So I'm kind of just throwing out some small shares just to see what it does. I, I'd love to see this continue like up to 15, 16, that kind of area over time. Oh, I only have, well, I guess I got a high fill, so it's gonna work out for me. I only had 500 shares, tried to get more shares there. Ay, ay, ay. Come on. KB, KB, K of the B. Why do I still have to look at my hotkeys after all these years of trading? I guess I'm just no good with keyboards.
GVP.
Feeling like a fossil here. I don't know if anybody else have that issue. And I'll say these things because, you know, I want the people to know that I'm not perfect. Like I'm sitting here, I'm not a perfect trader. I'll make mistakes. I'll have issues. Maybe I cut those trades faster. Yesterday I spoke about how I was like distracted at the open. At the end of the day, you know, we're only human, and so these things will happen. We just have to try to not get frustrated when it does. You know, some of us will be a little bit more like OCD, and we try to have that perfection, but we're not perfect people, and the market is not linear in that way. CGEN maybe halting down here. I don't know. I'll take a position here. This seems like it could curl back up. The low is 98.11. I'm gonna put a stop down there and just see what it does. Lower risk. And can we see a push back to 208, 206, somewhere there over time? Where are those bulls? Where are those bulls? Can we see something here? I don't think we need to be down there again. So there could be a small add here. If the volume starts to come in, I can sneak in 500 more shares. Watching. Gonna sneak in 500 more shares there. Now can we see 6, 8, and hopefully even 11 over the next minute and a half, 2 minutes here. Do not take me to the. Oh, it's gonna take me to the depths. Well, so much for that trade. 98 my stop, so I have to respect it. You know, how many times do we need to bounce at the VWAP? 1, 2. There's 4, right? 2 more times over here. 2 more times right here. We should have already curled back up. So maybe it'll go here, and I'm getting chopped out. It's probably what's happening. Of course, there's 6. There's my target of 6, 7. See what the stock market does to you? Classic fashion. Classic. It tests the lows one more time, and then it gives the sweet move back to 8 and maybe hopefully 11 here. So when that happens to you, what do? You smile and you keep trading, keep looking for the next best opportunity. If you get frustrated and you get mad, then you lose the clarity that you're supposed to have. There's 9. There might be a breakout coming.
CGEN SMAP
Sometimes you don't. I don't like this entry here, but it might go, and I don't have a choice if I want to be in, so I have to kind of take it a high like this. It's not gonna go, so it's having some trouble. The low is 5. That's a good breakout. Oh, it might be selling off. Can we hold? I'll take it again. Can we hold? Can we hold? Can we hold? Can we hold? Can I see 12, 14, 16, 10, 10, 9? That's a false breakout. That's disappointing. To move up in such great fashion, man, to do that. We need to hold up 10 and then, halt up 22. But if you're in at $2 and you held the trade, I said like a minute and a half. If you're in for 3 minutes and you sold up there, you're probably in at 99, out at 19, 18, 17. That's a great trade. Whether you take 1 entry or 5 entries in there. So it's back up to a high of 13 right there. The 5-minute candle, which is what I have to look at now because the 1-minute chart is ruined. 5-minute candlestick is saying, hey, if we don't close fairly high, low teens, there might be a little too much selling in this candlestick. And there's only 3 seconds left.
CGEN.
So how do we grade this 5-minute candle? I don't know. But if I zoom out from just that candle to the larger context of the chart, it still seems bullish. Like it seems like it could get to the pre-market high, even if it pulls back to the view up again first. That's 140. So can we get to 140 over time over the next 20 minutes? I'm green $200, so I'm doing something right. So I'll keep the small size, and maybe I can keep adding something slowly here. Maybe I can add another $200 by the time we get to 40, if it gets there. That would be good. That can give us small green, and if that's all the day has to offer, then we'll smile and we'll head out of here. $14. We want to see that push right up to 20. $19, $22, $23. Halt is at 25. Can we see that halt up? Come on, let's get halted up here. 25 for that halt level. Will we see it? 27 now for the halt level. 27. Is this it? Come on. Okay, maybe not. Some selling at 23.
GVP.
It's holding fairly high right now, 18, 19. Or maybe it pulls back a little bit more than that. Halt up is now 29. Okay, 17. He's holding this like this area here, so I'm kind of watching. 16 is the low to last though, so maybe it comes down some more. 23 is the high of the last. Watching. High or low? High or low? Halt is now at 32. All the green in the world and nothing happening there. Come on. I think I sold one. 13. It might go here. Or maybe not. Keep waiting. We didn't really get a 5-minute pullback there so far, which a 5-minute pullback could probably go all the way to like 104, 106 maybe. Maybe even VWAP. Well, 104 is VWAP, right? What was that, 103? Yeah. So we probably could see VWAP if this happens to be a 5-minute red candle. If not, maybe we hold up here in this area. I'm interested in seeing how earnings are going to turn out this at the end of this month here. Going into next month, we should start to see some earnings. I guess really this week, right? This week, next week. Into the New Year's. The only problem here is the halt down is at 103, 102. Now 102. I think I'll go for it, but if we get halted down, I'm not gonna be happy. Another question is, do I want to take on that kind of risk in this slower kind of a day? Maybe it's not worth it, Me buying that close to the halt down. So far, we're holding this 08 area, watching. I'd love to see a strong green candle once it bottoms out. I'm gonna take a position here, see if this is actually it. Maybe it doesn't go as low as I suspect. I want to see the 1 minute candle make the new high. Big bid. KB, 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 where are those bulls? I'm gonna come down a bit because we haven't pushed up yet. I would have loved to see the push already. And I'm gonna cut it flat. Not getting much out of that. Again, whenever we would have bottomed out, I wanted to see a strong green candle. That is not really what I was looking for. So maybe it's not ready yet, right? So just those 06. I don't know. I think I'll watch for close to VWAP. I just hope it's not selling off all the way, but it doesn't seem like it is. The way how the chart on the 5 is looking, it's looking pretty good. The trick is always, hey, what's the low? Is it 10? Is it 6? Is it 2? And I want to position myself as close to the low on a pullback as possible. That way my risk is not bad. Of course, there'll be days where you think you buy the low and then stock is at, 90 cents. Big drop down, and at that point you have no choice but to just accept the flush, and then, sometimes you gotta cut it. One of these days I gotta go to a chiropractor and a masseuse. Been feeling stiff and crazy. Gotta go oil up the joints. Get some fluidity. I move my leg, my knees are cracking up. It's like I'm already an old man. So there's 06. There's 04. I'll take a small position here. And we hold. Can we see something more out of it? 8, 9, 10, 11. The VWAP bounce, not really bouncing a ton. Gain of a few bucks. No such thing as old man. Hey, I like that. As long as we take care of ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, we'll be all right. Yeah, this thing is coming down. It's like you get a day like yesterday and then a day like today. It's like two totally different worlds. Yesterday was quite the move on those two stocks we had. ICCT and the other, I think, yeah, PBLA also was pretty good yesterday. CGEN had the resumption, pulled lower, crawled up a little bit. I'm flat on the day. It's currently 10:38. Again, I think, for me, it's just a size down. I'll give it another 30 minutes. If nothing comes, then I think we end the day right here and not force it. Because we know we can see nice green days when things are hot, right? I can see a nice green day when stocks are moving well. I need to not be having huge losses in between. OSA is selling off a bit. You become what you believe. Yeah, we gotta let our minds lead the way. And we have to do that in a positive essence. Not to get into any sort of like rabbit hole, but even like things like depression, that can definitely help out in some ways. The brain, man, even a lot of trading is so mental. Sometimes you have to just show up and say, I can do this, right? I can manage risk. I can, and I will be disciplined. Not gonna let that other side of me take over and force things and break the rules. I'm not gonna come in and be impulsive and spontaneous, but I'm gonna trade the system. I would say that I don't really punish myself, but I definitely have like very strict standards when it comes to what I would expect myself to do and not do. And it's interesting. One thing that I like to do is also to be aware. And it's like, can I do a review of myself as if I'm a third party individual or person? And I look back at these things and it's like, man, at one point I wouldn't let myself go anywhere because why am I going anywhere and I'm not successful in what I'm doing? Right? Why am I going on a cruise when I could be home studying? It's very harsh. But it's like if I go on a cruise and I don't know, man, it's weird stuff, man. It's weird. It's almost like this extremist mindset. C4 again with another push. Is there going to be a break of 5? Probably not. But sometimes I'll go out and then it's like I'm out and I'm just thinking about how I'm there, just not where I want to be. And does it make sense to be there? You know? Very extreme. There's people that say you have to have balance, and that's true. Too much of anything isn't good, but you know, that's how I've been, man. I don't know, that's how I've been. So there's a small push to 5. I'll take a chance here, and it's a losing chance of 3 cents. Not great. Yeah, that's how I've been over the years at certain points in my career as a trader. It's almost like how I find satisfaction and then can reward myself. Like now I can go anywhere and I can feel all right, like, because I've been putting in the time and I've been seeing the improvement slowly. But, you know, a few years ago, it's like, you're gonna go where, with who, with what, and do what? And you're not doing this or productive things? Good luck. Weird psychology, but you know, I don't hate it. I think it's great for me and who I am. But definitely over time we're more loose with these type of things. And I'm saying this and people probably thinking like this guy sounds like he stayed home for 5 years straight. That is not the case because I was definitely out there, but that was kind of the mindset though in at certain points in time. INBS. INBS. I'm not really too fond of C4. I think the moves are too sporadic and random. But you know, maybe it continues here. It's possible.
SMAP.
Get a job. I. They say you'll never work a day of your life if you love what you do. I don't know. I think I'm getting ready to shut it down. I'm gonna respond to some comments, questions, and concerns. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them here in the chat and on the YouTube stream. The new year is upon us. Let's see how the Discord's been doing. Cactus. This is yesterday. Cactus. Not bad. Let's see. Jessica had a hard time. Yeah, had a hard time yesterday. Dynamo as well had a hard time. So some people had a hard time yesterday. Dash was green. Went back to flat. Well, BMAC was holding it down for us yesterday at $1,800. Nice green day there. Dash seems to be doing very well, man. Congrats so far with the account there. Anthony in the building with some green trades. I gotta meet Anthony one of these days, man. Anthony is one of the people I follow on Instagram. He has people on this side of town, so you know, hopefully one day it can work out. Crispy and I will check him out. We were supposed to do it a couple months ago, but it didn't work out. I'm gonna message one of the Discord numbers here. Let me screenshot this and send it to him so he can protect himself. Where's the EpiPen? There it is. Uh, all right. Okay. What am I doing here? Settings. Close the cell. Close. Yeah. Okay. Let me see if there's any questions that came in. Let's see. Most traders are introverts. Yeah, perhaps. How do you always end green? That's definitely not true. I don't always end green. I end green 60-70% of the times though, which honestly really and truly could be way better. I think Marcelo is like 85%. Tim these last 6 months might be 90%. I've had a ton of red days these last 4 months. Take a look at this. Right? This is November and December, October especially. Let's pull it up. Something might start to move as I'm doing this. Hopefully that's the case. So I can, you know, get the momentum going. The classic leaving to go to the bathroom and then stocks start to get hot. So I'm gonna pull this up and hopefully something gets hot and we can switch back. Career-wise, we're 67% of the times we're green. So 6 to 7, you know, out of every 10 days, 6 to 7 we're green and then we're red 3. So let's pull up those questions here and let's see. Crispy's RT's bodyguard. Guys, Crispy's a good guy, man. Crispy's a good guy. I had dinner with Crispy and his siblings one time. Loving, very loving people. Can you provide trader view stats? So I'm guessing the detailed section. Here you go, right here. Let's see. Don Juan, At what year in your journey did you decide to go over PDT? So at one point I was trading in a cash account and then the simulator. So the first like year of me coming into the market, I had an account of 14,000 that I was just taking a few trades in every week. Just, dipping my toes. This is after like the Robinhood stuff. Everybody kind of started out Robinhood, most people at least. Like, okay, I need a real platform. So I got E-Trade Pro, small account, taking a few trades every now and again. But I realized that the progress there was just too slow. What made me realize this was getting hit with the PDT rule, right? So I should say my account was actually not a cash account, but more a margin account. I was taking 3 trades every week, right? I should have been using a cash account, but anyhows, I switched over to the sim, and in the sim, I set the account limit to over 25,000. Now, of course, in the sim, you can trade unlimitedly, regardless if your balance is above or below that amount. But
CYCN.
that's how I did things in the sim for about a year. And, a few months into doing that, I realized, okay, what I need to do when I do go live is to emulate exactly what I'm doing here in the sim now, right? Which was, account over 25K, multiple trades a day, and trying to get it done. So the PDT rule went away 6 months with me, not the PDT, what's this thing called? Commissions. Commissions went away 6 months of me being in the simulator. Month number 5, get this, month number 5 of me being in the sim, I became green gross. That's after commissions, or before commission. So before any fees, I became green after 5 months of using the simulator. So this was, of course, a huge milestone because any sort of green is a victory. Then the next step for me was, all right, now I need to be green with commissions. And then a few weeks later, like 2 weeks later, commissions it was gone, abolished. Then I'm like, okay, then I guess I'm a green trader, right? But I probably would have I spent another 6 months in the sim after that, just continuing to be green as I was, trying to get the 25K balance, right? Saving, borrowing, finding different ways I can get the cash, right? I wouldn't recommend this, right? I wouldn't tell anyone to do this. But what I did, I converted some of my credit to cash. I did have good credit, and I have, siblings who also did the same thing to help me. So I took on a huge rep, like most of my, like 70% of my account was credit, 25% interest, or like back then maybe 20% interest, something. It's like if I didn't do well, I would have been going to the depths. But I knew what I was getting myself into, you know. I thought that based off of who I was, where I was, the level of risk and responsibilities that I had at the time, I felt that way of doing things made sense. Um, but what I also had a lot of faith in was that I was proving myself day after day in the sim. I was proving that I could make money, and I knew that worst case scenario, I don't have to lose. If it's not going good, I can stop trading. I can reduce my size. I didn't have to incur big losses. So worst case scenario, the promotional period of me having 0% would end, and I just return the money. Maybe I might have lost 1,000 off the top or gained 1,000 on the top, and I just returned the money. So for me, I just felt like it was a very safe investment to do, or risk, let's say, to take. So that's how I did it. Um, slowly but surely, and only now we're really increasing our risk. You're so much smarter than me. I don't know if that's the way to really measure intelligence. Like, I'm definitely not stupid, right? I can say that, but I don't know. I don't look at myself as like a super smart person. Like some of my siblings here, like will watch Jeopardy and they'll answer like every single question. Me, I'm answering 3 4 questions an episode if I'm lucky, right? There's different ways you can measure intelligence, and when it comes to this field, you can say I'm somewhat sound in terms of what I'm doing specifically. There's still a broader market and investment banking and deeper levels of economics and finance that I for sure can do way more research on and learn a lot more things. Yeah, I don't know. Not to get too deep into that, but yeah. I'll take the compliment. I'll take the compliment. Red to green, of course. Red to green. How you doing, man? We got CGEN halting down here potentially. Yeah, we got to be able to cut the losses quick. It does definitely help us to stay green. Yeah, psychology, the mental side of it is the biggest part. A lot of times we can know the patterns, we can know what we should do, but there's this thing that just, despite understanding what's right, it's like we still somehow like do the opposite. We can say discipline, we can say, other psychological things, but it's happened to all of us, and it's definitely tough, right? Because there's no explanation really. But and then people from the outside, they'll look at it like, okay, you knew you had to buy here, sell here. Why didn't you just do that? But sometimes it's, I guess it's not that simple, right? It's tricky. How can you control your emotions? Right, that's the question. That's the question that's being asked here in the chat, literally. How does one control their emotions? I think on a like societal aspect, right? There's there's some sort of like law. There's some sort of rule that's there, right? Because ultimately, whether it's yourself or the masses, they'll agree that certain things just make sense and is the right thing to do. We can say like, running a red light. All right, let's make sure to stop the intersection because the consequences of running the light could be the loss of a life, um, bodily harm, monetary losses when it comes to just like the vehicle and these type of things, maybe some sort of trauma as well, right? These are all like the risks of running a light. And so if there's a rule and a law that's there, and we also know that there's a punishment, right? Maybe there's some sort of prison sentence or jail or fine. And so, usually people will look at this and it's like risk to reward, and also, the moral aspect of these things too. And so you bring that into trading, and it's like, you know, you kind of need some fear. You can't be 100% fearless, right? Because then maybe you become a daredevil and you say, I'm just gonna run this light, and then I don't think anything is gonna happen, right? So you kind of still need some sort of like checks and balances. So we bring that into our personal life, in our day trading career. How can we, you know, essentially have some level of fear to not do the wrong thing, right? Robbing a bank will result into, you know, a hefty prison sentence, right? But then you still have people who will sometimes try to rob a bank. The risk to reward, You know, you really have to know yourself as the trader, and you have to lay down certain foundations and things in place that
SMAP.
can best benefit you. And again, I guess this is where the disciplinary side of things comes in. You know, how well can you follow these rules, because ultimately the rules are in your best interest and can get you to your destination, you know, in the quickest, most efficient route. For me, that's the thing that's really gotten me to be disciplined, is understanding that if I follow these set of rules, you know, things you've experienced over the years of trial and error, you know, things you've seen online, all these different things that can help you, you know, if that can get me to where I need to be quickest, why am I deviating? You know, why am I deviating? And I guess this comes back to the broader question, you know, of knowing you're doing something wrong but not being able to help it. What causes that? And there's a lot of psycho, you know, maybe we'll need like some people who are like very good in psychology and sociology and these different fields. Even them, they probably wouldn't even know themselves, but you know, it's really coming down to an individual level, right? We have to assess, we have to manage, you know, just as if you would go through different screening process, right? You have to do these things with yourself, because ultimately you know yourself better than anybody else does. You know yourself better than your spouse, your sibling, you know, anybody, right? Only the man above really knows us, you know, as maybe knows us better than we know ourselves, but on that intimate level, that personal level, there are things you're probably never going to tell anybody ever, right? There's probably certain things you're going to the grave with, right? Only you know. And so you assess yourself, what makes me excited, what makes me frustrated, what makes me, you know, what are the characteristics that I have on a good day, right? When I'm doing well, when I'm very green, you know, what are the stocks providing, and how am I interpreting this data and managing risk and trading well? On my huge blow up days, what's consistent about those days, and how am I, you know, getting tilted? So you have to do these deep dives on yourself. You know, there's certain days where the worst days for me ever is when
SMAP.
I've struggled on the day, I've decided that the day's done, the stock is an awful stock, and then out of nowhere the stock starts to go crazy. Those days are hard for me because in the past, on those days, you know, it's like I've said that I'm done, and then I go back because the stock is, maybe it's moving a little different, right? And I go back, I try, and it turns out to be the same thing. I don't know why, but that scenario there, I don't know what it does to me mentally. I understand it, I can sit here and talk about it, but I get enraged if I'm to go back to that stock, trade it, and I go even deeper into the red, big losses, big flushes. I don't know why that like bothers me so much. So like, you guys will probably notice on those days, I'm like a mess. You know, I'm sitting here and it's just, you know, maybe I start to feel FOMO, maybe you know, there's frustration, there's all these different emotions. So I try not to press aggressively in that situation, because that's something that just bothers me more than usual. It's still not to the point where I do anything crazy, but you don't want to be adding fuel to the fire ever, right? When it comes to our negative emotions. So once you figure out the things that do frustrate you, and the situations and circumstances that make you emotional, you put things in place to not get there, and you try to avoid that at all costs. Like every redundancy you can think of, anything that you can do to prevent yourself from getting there. And you stick to that because, again, if you stay on that path, that's the fastest way to get to your destination, whether it's financial freedom, extra income, however you're interpreting the market, and your goals in the market, right? That's what helps me to be disciplined. If I break the rules, it's just going to take me longer. It's also going to be more stressful for me to be at the destination. So I say this, right? It's been like 4 years since we've had a bad day. We haven't had a bad day in a long time. And I don't think we'll have a bad day, right? I can lose money, but that doesn't mean it's a bad day, right?
NCACU.
Uh, you're having issues bringing in data from Thinkorswim. I don't have a trader view video. I have one for the classes, but I can show you here quickly. First thing you're gonna want to do is go to your Thinkorswim platform, hit the monitor section, top left, right, monitor. From there, account statements. And I can bring up the EpiPen here just to highlight everything a little bit, but yeah, account statements right here. You click on that, and then in the top right hand corner, there's these like 3 dotted lines. Well, actually, before that, you'll want to make sure you have the date range that you want to import selected, whether it's 1 day back. So you can do that from this tab here. Let me see. I hope I'm on single screen. I think I am. Double check. Okay, yeah. So you can change the date range up here. So if you want to do December 1st, right, to December 19th, you can go back, you can select that, or you can just do today. And then from there is where you go to the upper right hand corner to these dotted lines over here. And then you can import, right? So you can hit export to file and you save it in a particular part of your computer, right? It'll have the date, right? It'll have today's date, right? Or whatever date you're selecting, I believe. And it'll say account statement. So from there, once you hit save, you then go to trader view and then you hit import trades, the big green button, import trades. You have to make sure that Thinkorswim is selected, right? So on the top column, there's like a bunch of platforms and brokers. Webull, WT Simulator, there's a ton of them. So you make sure that you have Thinkorswim selected. And then you come on down to the bottom here where it says choose file. And you essentially choose the file that you just saved. So if you saved it in on your PC, maybe in documents, wherever you saved it, you select that file, you hit upload, and then you're good to go. You give it a sec and then it imports. I'm not going to import yet because I don't know if I'm done. I'll import at 4 p.m. Marcelo is 41. I'm in my mid-20s. People always ask this. Stick to your rules. And don't try to see something that is not there. I think Marcel is going to do a live Q&A today, so we can tune in around 12 p.m. For those of you in Discord, he'll send out the link. We can tune in to see how he was able to do today. Slow day for me, not much. Where are we at? Let's see. $4, a whopping $4 on the day. You know, this is something also that's important for new traders to understand, is that, you know, unlike the day jobs, careers, the hourly wages, our income here isn't really fixed. Now, it isn't really fixed either in those careers, because you can get laid off, you can get fired, but you know, if your salary is, you know, let's just throw a number out there, 100K, you know, you're probably making, let's say, you know, after tax, whatever. Okay, let's not go that route because I have no idea what that'll equate to. But let's just say you're making you know, 1,500 a week, 2,500 a week. It's like, you know what just you're to expect when you get your check, right? When you're trading, you're essentially a business owner, and you know, it changes and fluctuates on a day-to-day basis. So you can be green today, you can be red tomorrow, you can be big green today, big red, you can be small green. There's just a, you know, million different ways the day can end. Um, so that's just one thing to keep in mind, and you know, you can expect it, right? It's a business, it's not linear when it comes to your progress, your gains. You know, tomorrow could be a 10K day, it could be a $500 day, it can be less, it can be red. We have no idea. So I don't ever really look at like profits for like a gauge. You know, I don't ever say my goal is this. I tried that once, failed miserably. I'll never do it again because I don't think it makes sense for what the market is. What my goal is to be my best self every day. That's what my goal is. And it's also why I do get a little upset at times when, you know, I'm distracted, or you know, other things are happening. I'm in here and I'm a little nonchalant, you know, and even then I have to remember, hey, well, I'm just human. You know, I'm gonna be different on some days, right? I'm not gonna be my best. Some days I'm gonna have a headache, right? So, as I'm losing my train of thought. Jeez, that was bad. Too young for this. Have no idea where I was going with that. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, it's coming back. So on, you know, on a day-to-day basis, you can expect that it's not going to be linear. So keep in mind, again, it's a business, right? It's a business. Green $4 today. If I go and show, hey, you know, tell the world, hey, I made $4, they'll look at me like I'm a joke, right? If they don't understand the broader point of view of what I do every day and how it works. But if I just say, hey, today I'm up $4, it's like, yeah, what is this guy doing here? He's just wasting his time. But if I say, hey, you know, I'm green over 5 figures in the month, and I've only worked about 24 hours this month, then it sounds better, right? If you want to call sitting by your bedside and doing what you love work, I don't know if I'll call it work. I violate my rules almost every day. I'm ashamed of myself. Well, it starts, you know, it starts with you making a change, right? I'm going to be brutally honest here, right? I'm going to be brutally honest. The competition is stiff. The competition is stiff, right? There's other day trading communities out there. There's algorithms. There's, you know, the hedge funds, the mutual funds, the, you know, all the big traders on the floor, right? The New York Stock Exchange. There's a lot of competition. And there's a lot of people who are following their rules. There's a lot of people who are trying to be disciplined and who are disciplined. And, you know, for us to get to where we need to be, we have to essentially match that or be better than that, right? And so we ask ourselves, what is our dream? What is our goal? You know, are we looking for financial freedom? Are we looking for some sort of consistency here from the market? You know, can I make 200 a day every day? You know, that on top of my salary now would be amazing. Like whatever it is that you're looking for, your goal from the market. You know, you have to take that as motivation that there are other people out there as well who are doing a similar job as you, but are outperforming you. And so you have to use that as motivation. So this is like a different angle, right? Because a lot of times we're just kind of looking at it from like, okay, it's just me. I'm trying to show up, but I'm breaking my rules. I'm not sure what's going on. So maybe this can help jumpstart you to be more disciplined, right? You know, you think about it, it's like, man, the humble traders out there, they're kicking my butt. Can't let that happen. Can't let the humble traders, beat us. We can't let these people outstudy us and review more than us and then get better results than us. You know, we have to make sure that we do everything possible to get to where we need to be, whatever it takes to ensure success, right? Do whatever is necessary to ensure success. And that is hard. You know, you can have a career that's maybe conflicting with trading. You can have a family that you're taking care of, and you might not have as much time as somebody else. And so it puts you in a situation, right, where it's like you want to try this thing, you want to do it, but it's so difficult. Right? Again, there's a job description here, and you know we either have to fit the description, because if not, then we're going to be struggling. We have to make it happen one way or another. This stuff is very, this stuff is very, it takes a lot, man. You know, you'll hear of people who are trying to be successful go through like divorces and like will lose jobs. It's very, very difficult. Sometimes you just can't because of what you have to do, your obligations. But if that's ever the case, then you also have to make a business decision. Okay, maybe this, because there's other ways to make money, right? There's other ways, and even when it comes to the stock market, there's other strategies that can maybe allow you to be more flexible depending on what it is that you're doing, right? For this particular strategy, we need to be here, we need to be active. There's other ways that's more passive, right? Longer term swings, maybe some investing, right? So you still have to make that business decision. If you just don't have the availability, if you just, maybe personality wise, right? Because again, understanding ourselves, maybe this particular style of strategy where we're taking hundreds of trades in a day, maybe it's just not resonating with who you are. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine, actually, right? Because there are other strategies, there's other things that can better accommodate you. And ultimately, when we do approach these fields in a low risk way, a safe and methodical way, even if we realize it's not for us, we have lost nothing. We've only gained knowledge. Even time wise, you haven't really lost you didn't lose time. You learned something, or you learned that this field wasn't for you, right? You learned something. There was a lesson that you can take away into the next venture, whether it's within the stock market or outside the stock market, right? So a lot of people, they went through like 4, 5, 6 businesses before their business took off. Sometimes different sectors, different fields, similar sectors, slightly different. So, when you look at yourself from that third party perspective, how long have you been trading? There's different things you can look at. Time, right? Availability, um, and there's I mean there's a ton of different things you can look at, right? But you can sit down and ask yourself, okay, if if I was the CEO, right? So let's say if you're the CEO, do you need to be voted out? Or these are real conversations you can have with yourself. If I've been trading for 10 years, you know, I continue to blow up my account. Um, my risk management is poor. You look at yourself from a third person's point of view, that unbiased point of view, and you ask yourself, you know, what I'm doing here, is it worth it? Do I want to take my talents elsewhere? And you have to make the decision, right? But only you as the individual can know. But it's not something to be emotional about, because again, time is going, right? Opportunity will cost. Time that you're spending here is time that you could have been spending on a different business, right? A different style, a different strategy. But you definitely want to give yourself a valid amount of time, and you want to do everything that's possible, so that once you do make a decision, the decision isn't hard, because you knew that you've given it your all, right? It only sucks when you have regrets. Hey, I wasn't studying at all. I wasn't screen recording. I wasn't reviewing my trades, but I'm gonna move on to a different field. Well, okay, maybe you would not have made it, but you also didn't give yourself the full chance. But if you've been doing everything perfectly and it's like 5, 10 years, and you're not making progress, you can have the conversation, right? It's a real conversation you can have. We can pivot, we can try different things. I don't think we should ever feel ashamed or embarrassed or frustrated with that, if we've been giving it our all. If we think we need more time, that's all right too, right? But as long as it's a fair, unbiased review of yourself, I think that's what's important. So, I do think it's a good idea for people to tell their significant other that they're trading and that they're trying different things, because ultimately it can help keep you in check. Like, we had an individual here in the chat a year ago who, had lost $10,000. And so he went, he told his wife, like, I lost 10 grand. And he had an incident where he lost a little bit of money before that, I think the month before. The guy's doing well for himself, but at the same time, his wife was telling him, like she essentially held him accountable, like, you know okay, hey, if you have this happen to you again, these are the rules we're gonna put, right? Again, do you need to vote yourself out as CEO, right? You have to put these rules in place, and you have to follow them. You have to, right? Because if you're in any other situation where it's not just you alone, you will be fired. You can be voted out. It's only because we're here by ourselves, right? Do you show up late to trade every day? If you're showing up late to trade every single day, think about if you're showing up late to work every single day. They would have already said, hey, that's it. Give us your name badge or whatever ID card you use at the office building or the warehouse, the factory facility. Hey, we're letting you go. You're not being professional here. That's what's required in this field, is that high level of discipline, as if there is a boss watching you. Because you are your own boss. It's a little different, but you still have to treat it with that same energy. Okay, that there's a camera watching you in this particular section of the building as you're doing your work. So you're going to make sure to not go on your phone. You're not going to start, blasting music and then, slacking off. That's the same thing that's required here. You're not utilizing alcohol on the job site. You're not utilizing any sort of recreational whatever on the job site. So why would you be doing that as you're trading, right? These are all the things. So it's all these things are small components, that builds up into a successful trader. Having that discipline and putting forth the best effort. Yeah, and so I will say that, like, people who people who are maybe less responsibilities can have more of an advantage when it comes to trading in the aspect of time, because it, you know you can literally have 10 hours of you just studying, right? Someone who's in a different situation isn't going to have that if they have more responsibilities is definitely the main word there, right? And it seems like the older we get, the naturally, like, the more responsibilities kind of just come. So it's definitely a field where no matter the age, you can be able to do it, but definitely availability is a huge part. You said I need a good mic. Is it really that low? My mic has some crazy muffled settings right now, so background noise isn't bad, but yeah. When is a good employee ever fired or, like, laid off? Like, there has to be some sort of, like, structural issue with the company, you know, for them to really let go of, like, great people. And in that, like, for that to be the case with trading, maybe it's a thing where fundamentally what we're doing is just not working anymore for an extended period of time, because we will have to also adjust and pivot, right? Whether let's say commission comes back tomorrow, right? It's like immediately we'll have to like, that's something that's fundamental to the strategy. Like, we'll have to make an adjustment. There'll be no way around it, right? And it's the same thing all over again. Like, there'll be a certain amount of time that we'll have to put in to adjust and change, right? Because at the end of the day, even if your responsibilities are on the lower side, more than likely there's still things that you're gonna have to do, right? And time is going. So it's the same process all over again. And discipline is gonna be pretty big. Availability is gonna be pretty big. And can we continue to, you know, review, study, gain the screen time? All I would need to know is that it's possible. And I think that's the motivation that I'll use. So if there's people that can make money with commission, then of course I can make money with commissions. I'll just have to adjust, right? If if commissions come back, let's say at $50 a trade, and there's people who are doing it, then I'll know I'll be able to do it, right? If, let's say, what else can, like, change? They were gonna do, like, that 5 cent tick thing at one point. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Anything can happen. Anything can happen, and it's just the process remains the same. Multiple streams of income, of course, makes a lot of sense. If your response, again, these are things that we don't really talk a ton about, but there has to be a certain standard when it comes to, like, the common sense of it all, right? Because if you're someone who's paying a mortgage and you decide, okay, I'm going to leave my career, I'm going to leave my job, to invest or day trade, and you come in with the expectation that you're going to still be able to pay your mortgage and all your bills and all these different things, you know, with a new business, like how silly is that? Like how silly does that sound, right? Like that's pretty silly. So there has to be like a standard at least. And I think, you know, most people will understand that. Like, okay, I'm not gonna just go start a business tomorrow and expect that business to cover all my expenses. You have to have some sort of plan, whether it's like savings for like a year or two or whatever it might be, if you're gonna go all in. Like, hey, I'm gonna stop everything else, just do this alone. Like that's like a given, right? Now, if you're 18 years old, you're graduating high school, you know, you're in a house where your parents are leading things and they don't mind you taking a few years to try and learn trading. It's a whole different story, right? It's a whole different story. Whole different story. But anyhow, as I'm talking to people's ears off, I think it's time for me to get out of here, right? I think it's time for me to get out of here. But yeah, you know, uh the significant other thing is pretty important because, you know, ultimately they will hold you accountable as well. And there's nothing harder than to having to turn to someone and tell them the nonsense that you did. Right? It's a very hard thing to do, but it also keeps you transparent with yourself, and it puts that level of accountability in there. You know, if you can't be your own boss, then there's a boss watching at you, and you must follow the rules. You know, you have to follow the rules at all costs. All right, guys, that's gonna do it. I hope you guys were able to take something away there from that conversation. Looks like somebody got a ban. Yo, this fly that's flying around in here. Let me grab my zapper. My trusty zapper. Somebody had gotten sent to the depths. Somebody who also hasn't done their research to look into my channel, which is the sad part. Jumping to conclusions, brother. PBLA. If I've missed something, it's all right. Is it worth it? PBLA. I got in these new liners today, man. Whenever I put in a new pair, the first day is always a tough day. So what I've been trying to do, I put them in at night, and then into the new day. So by the time I wake up, you know, it's not as bad. But these new sets, this new set is tight. No pain, no gain. So they say. No pain, no gain. AG looking good. Yeah, I think that's it, man. I don't know if maybe I'll trade this if this gets over hype day at 90, break of 2, I'll touch it up there, but other than that, I think that's it. So for those of you going all the way to 4, continue to be patient, continue to be diligent. I'll catch you guys later. Stay safe, stay green, and enjoy the rest of the day. See you guys in the recap, and then again, maybe there's not going to be a recap today. Probably not. If I end the day like this, I'm not going to do a recap. But if anything, tomorrow again, bright and early. Stay safe, stay green. See you guys later. Hit that thumbs up on the way out, and feel free to check out the links down below if you are a new viewer and you're looking for the scanner, the classes, the Discord, or anything. But yeah, take care.